Southwest new status match. Is Disney more than Europe? Thrifty Traveler's going up, but we can save you guys money. And hotel occupancy, is it falling across the country? What's going on there? All of that coming up right now on MTM Travel.
They're still sticking it to us, though, even as they get less people.
So happy Tuesday, Mark. I was just over the weekend, went down to LA and the Hyatt Centric Long Beach. I was just talking to you about it, telling you that it's just become this like comfortable go-to for me. Just had my fourth stay there, easy upgrade to their junior suite, kind of a nice space for me and my daughter. And, you know, it's not the fanciest hotel in the world. I've just really grown to love the Centric brand. Some of them not so good, you know, some of the older conversions, but this property has delivered. And I just love that area, Long Beach, down by the water, the Queen Mary, all that stuff. And another nice visit there.
Yeah, I've never made it down to Long Beach. I know a lot of people enjoy it there, restaurants and all that stuff. And as I said in the Vegas after show, I am bougie now, so I stay in Santa Monica when I go to California. I really enjoyed that area, but Long Beach probably a little bit cheaper on the award rates there.
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, I don't love staying in the middle of Santa Monica or Hollywood or any of that sort of stuff. And I think it's just a matter of like, I'm not really a tourist per se. I grew up there and it's just the way I was telling you. I just don't think of it in that way to go for the fancy hotels. And I probably should. There's some good hotels there and I'm probably missing out on my approach. But we did a meetup about 2 years ago in Long Beach, right at those hotels at the Hyatt Regency, which is also right there. And the Centric, and there's a mall there and just great restaurants. And then you can go on whale watching tours from there. You have the whole bay. You have the Queen Mary, which is right there. It's just a really walkable, neat place. And it's, you know, one of the few walkable areas in LA. LA is so spread out and you can be by the water. You can get great restaurants, you know, all sorts of sightseeing and stuff. And the Centric is just a nice hotel. I don't know. So I just want to recommend that again. I've probably talked about it before. But the Hyatt, and it's a category 4 now. Who knows what's, you know, it'll be 8 million points pretty soon. But
yeah,
thankfully I had a cert expiring. So it was a good use of that. I will say the one crazy thing, Mark, is yesterday we went, so they have like a lot of Centric stew, kind of a restaurant, kind of more of a like a fast service, but they will serve it on plates for you right there. But the food is really good there. But I asked the guy what was included. He's like 1 entree, 1 side, and 1 drink. And so we just ordered all of our stuff and it came to $94. And I was just like, Jesus, who's paying $94 for this? And then they only took $64 off my bill. And I'm like, I asked the guy, and they didn't fight with me or anything. They took it right off at the front desk, but $94 for breakfast at the Hyatt Centric Long Beach.
I do wonder if like that's just because globalists and stuff and they jack up the prices because Hyatt reimburses the hotels for that breakfast. And that's a great reason they should be excited every time we do a meetup and we have a ton of globalists staying there. They're making money hand over fist on all these breakfasts. But I do wonder if it's kind of like when you see like student loans are cheap, so then colleges just jack up the price. And since Hyatt is probably paying for a lot of these breakfasts or companies, you know, people are on a work trip or whatever, and they're like, all right, we can jack up the price. Let's charge more because anywhere else outside of a hotel, breakfast is fairly cheap. It's probably half the price of what these hotels charge. And it's just crazy what they're able to get away with because people have per diems, or I think the globalist aspect really does drive up a lot of these prices.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times their tip is dependent on obviously what the amount is because they're getting tipped on the back end. And this guy was just upselling us left and right. My daughter got avocado toast. He's like, do you want eggs with that? I'm like, does it not come with eggs? Okay. So she said yes. And I'm like, yeah, it should be covered. And then I had a breakfast burrito. He's like, do you want avocado on that? I'm like, sure, let's put avocado, add in my $9 Vietnamese coffee, a juice for her, a couple yogurts, and the 2 entrees, about $90, $94. So yeah, it's nuts. But I guess a good use of that. And with kids, like I don't eat breakfast at every hotel when I'm traveling, and I don't know that it has the value for me that it does for some other people, but making it a special thing with the kid is always nice. And she does very much look forward to that.
Yeah, I like it when you're at a resort and you're kind of relaxing and like when we were in Hana and we're there, that breakfast was fun to go to and get to pick from the menu and you get this big spread and everything. But like you, if I'm traveling by myself or we're doing a meetup or something, like I don't ever go down to breakfast. You know, it just I'm not going to get up for it. And if I do eat it, I'd rather just grab something out, walking around town or whatever. And I'm a big proponent of the McDonald's breakfast. That's the best. So I can just go do that for like 11 bucks.
Yeah, I mean that's the truth, and well, even cheaper probably with the app and stuff. But yeah, I mean that's always the trade off. Is it yes, breakfast is expensive at the hotel. Do you really need that? How much do you need? And then also, could you just get a cheaper alternative? All that sort of stuff does matter. But let's move on and talk some travel stuff, including Thrifty Traveler and their new promotion. So, Thrifty Traveler Premium is one of the better sort of services for keeping track of like deals, award flights, cash flights, kind of hooking you into all of that. And it's been run, I mean, this has been around forever. We work with them a little bit over the years, but just one of the long established services here. And they recently announced that they are raising the price. It was $99 a year and they are raising it to $129 a year. But right now we have a special where you can get $20 off the 99. So you can get it for 79 for the first year, and then it will be locked in at that 99 rate going forward. So you avoid the price increase completely. And this has been a very popular program for not only Miles to Memories back at your other job that you were working, a lot of people signing up there. This is one of those great tools in the hobby.
Yeah, and they have a hotel add-on that you can add as well, and you can lock that in at a lower price now versus it going up. So if you always struggle finding like Big Sur, Ventana award space, they'll send out alerts for that. They send them out for the Waldorf Astoria and Cabo, which is very popular and sometimes hard to find awards. So that's an actual additional option. But if you just focus on the award alerts, it's basically like they're searching every day and they're coming up with all these different, all right, here's a Saver Award business class from here to here, and they send it out, and you can tailor it however you want. They search up to 200 airports or a little over 200 airports. You can say I want all of them, or you can say I want them just out of my airport or local airports, or maybe just the East Coast, West Coast, and your airport. Whatever it be, you can set that up and they'll find mistake rates, mistake fares, cash prices that are really good, and they're sending them out. This is the best at sending out deals. They destroy the competition, the amount of alerts that they send out. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely give it a kick the tires on it. I think you should check it out. You have until Saturday when the prices go up. It's not a big purchase, $80 for a year. See how it works. If it doesn't work for you, you cancel it. I think they even have like a 60-day money back guarantee. But if it does work, then you're locked in for that 99 going forward, which is a really good deal.
And we do have an affiliate link with them. So signing up does support us, but we want to fully disclose that. We would earn a commission. I want to just, I mean, looking at the alerts from today as we're recording, and as you said, their frequency of alerts is better than many of their competitors and just a range of deals. For example, this morning, a cash deal, $463 from the West Coast to Tahiti. And then there's a couple mileage deals. And so you're going to get several a day. And then, as Mark said, you can tweak it and do better. Yeah, it's a great service and just give it a try if you're interested. We will put the link down in the description. If you have a premium subscription, let us know in the comments. What are your experiences with it? Are you happy? We'd love to hear your feedback, share it with others, but we do like that service. And it's nice that you can get this discount now, get it locked in before they raise the price.
Yeah, and I really like that gives you kind of ideas. Even if it's somewhere you don't want to book, then you kind of know, hey, that's the route, that's the price I want to be looking for. Maybe it's not the dates that work for you, but you know to look for it when you are going to that area because there's so many different ways to get to your end destination that sometimes there might be an award that you didn't even know was available. Like we talked about me flying into Portugal and I'm going through Africa and got it super cheap. And that's not something I would have thought of. And these kind of spark that intrigue for you, give you a little bit, or maybe it's destinations you didn't even know existed, and you're like, hey, let me look into that. Let's see what that's all about. So it gives you value in that aspect too, I think.
So let's talk hotel occupancy rates. So we talk a lot on the Vegas show about the numbers in Vegas, and that became a wider meme in the world. And I started to notice social media posts in the last week talking about the occupancy rate in the US is 62% for hotels. And that is true. It is 62%. The problem when you start looking at that is that it's not usually much higher than 62%. It's not like when you look at the Vegas numbers, I mean, Vegas has a significantly higher occupancy by like 20% or more than the national average. And I decided to kind of have, I worked with AI. We looked at some of the statistics, have it map out the differences in average daily rate, occupancy percentage, and RevPAR over the last 10 years. and you can see that it's doing pretty good. It's not bad. The U.S. hotel industry is not failing in any way.
No, I mean, I think it was what, like 2015, it was 65-ish%. It went up a little bit from there to like 66, but mid 60s is kind of where it's always lived. The shocking thing, and probably not shocking to anybody listening to this, but the crazy thing is the rate has dipped, like occupancy has dipped, but prices have just gone through the roof. And we saw that coming out of COVID. People were willing to pay whatever just to get out there and see things again. And they took full advantage of that. It used to be like in the $130 range, I think, a night before COVID, and it's gone up quite significantly from there. And we've seen it on the award charts, and Hyatt's devaluation has a lot to do with this, with the higher cash rates. So they're making more money with about the same occupancy rate, a little bit less, but they're probably they have to hire less people because they're not cleaning as much and all those things. And they're just making money hand over fist when you compare it to earlier days. I know costs of things have gone up for them too, so you have to factor that in. But when are we going to get a little reprieve from these sky high prices?
I don't think we are. And I think that what's interesting is the question has always been with Vegas, is Vegas having problems because it's Vegas and all the moves they made, or is what's happening in Vegas indicative of the wider economy and the world? And when you look at it, it does seem like Vegas is really hurting badly because of what it is and not because of the wider economy. Let's look at some numbers with and without Vegas. So occupancy went down 1.2% last year. But if you take out Vegas, it's a negative 0.8, 0.9%. So Vegas has a pretty big impact at about 3% of the total number that goes into the national number. Average daily rate actually grew to 0.9% last year. It would have been about 1.3% without Vegas. So Vegas dragged that number down quite a lot. And then RevPAR, revenue per available room, which is the metric that most hotel companies use. This is probably the most important metric in the space. Nationally was down 0.3%. But if you take out Vegas, it would have been up 0.3 to 0.5%, meaning that every room in this country outside of Las Vegas would have made more money last year. And that tells you that it's not really the sky is falling. And just because you hear 62%, just know that national occupancy is always in the mid to low 60s.
Yeah, and Vegas is really dumping on everybody else's parade. No. But no, and you would think that, hey, people are worried about economy. We see stuff, prices of everything's going up, inflation, everything like that. And the hotels are no different, and they've kept it up there, and they're still booking at about their historical norms. So they're not going to be changing, like you said, anytime soon. But it sucks because I used to be able to find pretty good rooms for under $150. That's so rare. And that's what we talk about, like the built thing, $200 on the Palladium card, the $200 credit over 2 nights. Like maybe 5 years ago, that would be useful, that you could get a 2-night stay for mostly free. When you tack on the extra $100 in bill cash you can add to it, now you're getting maybe in the realm of covering the whole thing, but it's a lot harder. You have to go to a small town or something like that. You're not doing any big city stays for that price point, and it's just gotten kind of insane there. We've seen it with flights too. Like I used to be able to get flights to the West Coast for $250, $300 round trip. Now that's one way.
And private equity is going to keep building hotels. This is a profitable business. And I think that's sort of the point. They're not worried about 1/3 of their rooms sitting empty on average, because when it does fill up, the economics really work. Most of these hotels are owned by big hedge funds or real estate investment trusts, huge property owners that own tons of hotels across many different brands. Some of them work with all the different brands. It's really a fascinating sort of thing that we can't go into here. But I would say, based on my knowledge, I follow this pretty closely. I was really interested to dive into these numbers for the last 10 years and say that I think the hotel industry, we'll see what happens. Obviously, a lot going on in the world. But if you look at the numbers through the end of 2025, pretty darn good.
Yeah, I think they've been doing better than expected, better than what social media says, outside of Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, I think this really reinforced to me that a lot of Vegas's problems are because of Vegas and some of the things that we've discussed on that other show ad nauseum. But another sort of thing that people love to discuss is the cost of Disney, and this has become another meme on the internet. It's, oh, I could go do this trip for cheaper than Disney, and I think a lot of that is probably true. But this guy's talking about a fancy ski vacation in France with a family of 4. Come on, dude. Come on, man. Like, seriously, I don't buy any of
Michelin
this.
star restaurants. He's like, oh, I did it. We flew to France and stayed in 5-star hotels, ate at Michelin star restaurants, got private lessons. I think he even said he bought like snowboards or some crap, and it was cheaper than 5 days at Disney and Universal. That is so far fetched. Unless you're using points for the hotel and miles for the airline tickets, then maybe we're in that realm of discussion. And that's the one big takeaway from Disney and in part Universal, outside of maybe getting the tickets through undercover tourists. I mean, you can stay off property on the hotels, so you can make it cheaper. Yeah, okay, maybe you can do it. You can do both things cheaper with miles and points, but I just don't see how he's getting all this stuff for less than a Disney, unless you're doing that. What is it, the 10-person private tour with Disney and all that crap? Then okay, we're talking like the 1/10 of 1% of people that can afford to do that.
Yeah, and then there was the meme that came up this last year too that you could go to Japan for cheaper, to go to Tokyo Disneyland for cheaper than Disneyland or Walt Disney World, and that I could see actually making
Yeah.
sense. But it just depends on what hotels are you staying at. What do you want? The ticket prices in Japan, for instance, are less than half on most days of what you pay in the U.S. And so if you're having a longer trip, I mean, that's could be $1,000 of savings right there. Flights to Japan from the West Coast haven't been all that expensive if you're talking about like Zip Air, which is a budget carrier that flies there from the West Coast. And even I think they launched an Orlando flight recently. So I don't know. I just think that this is another sort of jump the shark thing where we're going to start comparing stuff because all we do is we learn how to save money, and whether it's miles and points or finding deals and stuff like that. And it's just saying, yeah, the most expensive trip I can come up with, I can go price something on disneyworld.com for 5 nights. It's going to cost me 20 grand. And is that what I should make a video about? Or could I show you how to do it for much cheaper? The tickets are a problem. You've talked about undercover tourists. You talked about all this stuff. That really, learning how to save on that instead of complaining is probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, the tickets just keep going up and up. It's getting crazy, and oh, yeah, but you do get discounts if you buy like a 5-day ticket versus a one. Maybe he was looking at like all individual 1-day tickets to the parks. I don't know. You could probably finagle this to make it look right, but it's definitely dishonest. But I would imagine like you could probably go to Disneyland Paris and fly to France, and there's times that I see flights to Europe that are cheaper round trip than flying to Florida or flying to Vegas or flying to California, and that holds merit. Like you could probably fly to Japan at times for cheaper than flying from the West Coast over to Orlando. So it is a possibility there, and I do agree with the general consensus of hey, look outside of the U.S. and there's still some deals to be had there. But it is kind of crazy that we pay so much higher prices for our theme park tickets than everywhere else in the world.
Yeah, and it just keeps going up. It's insane, and it outpaced inflation. I want to say 2x over the last 10 or 15 years. So it's the number, maybe even more than that. I saw somebody break it down, but I don't have the exact memory of it. But if you just look at what inflation was and then what these ticket prices have gone up, it's just insane. And this is a whole strategy of corporate America in 2026 to cater to more affluent clientele while also dropping the poorer people. And it's just really what it is. It's filling the park up with less people, but charging them more. And it really sucks from a thing from Disney's perspective that it's less accessible. But I just think the whole world is less accessible to certain socioeconomic classes than perhaps it was when we were growing up. Maybe that's just a wider change. I'd love to hear people's opinion on that. Maybe people disagree with that and say, this is just normal, but it's really hard to think 100. I mean, there's days I think where it's over $200 a ticket if you do a single day ticket at Walt Disney World. And when I was just in Japan for buying, and by the way, in Japan these days, all you can do is buy single day tickets. I paid like one day $63 and the other day $60 just a few months ago.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that. Like I would go if it was that. You could take a whole family of 4 for the same price as one ticket almost.
No wonder I had such a good day. I wasn't worrying about all the money I spent to get in there.
Oh yeah, I do. That's why I love like just watching the meltdowns happen. That's one of my favorite things to do in Disney because parents are dragging overly tired kids because they're like, no, I spent $200 for you to be here. We're staying until the dang fireworks pop off. I don't care what you say.
Classic Disney parent. It's a great experience. You got to teach the kid the value of money and what you spent there. I don't know. That's why I wrote off Disney World. I'm like 3 years, I think, into my 4-year promised Disney boycott, maybe close to that. And I have been itching to go back to Walt Disney World. I will say absence has made the heart grow fonder.
I'm still, I'd rather go to Universal. That's where that's where I'm at. No, I think we're done with theme parks for a while. The last trip that we did down there when we did I took my daughter out to California to do that VIP experience again. So both kids have gotten to experience that. And then we did the line cut passes with the using the FHR credit in Orlando, which was a good experience too. But I think everybody was just kind of over it at that point.
Yeah, it's tiring. It's not for everybody, and it's expensive. And I guess that's the moral of the story. But let's talk a few other things. Southwest has a new status match promotion, or they've updated their promotion. And so now you can do the status match for 120 days, but then you have the ability to keep it past that. And it depends on which status you have and how they'll match you. But if you get A-list status and you want to keep that, you can fly 3 round trips within the 120 days or earn at least 11,500 tier qualifying credits. A-list preferred is going to require 6 round trips or 12 one-ways to do that. So basically you can get this status up front. And if you have a lot of flights coming up, this just could be a strategy to get the perks. And I think A-list, I never really cared all that much about it back in the day. I had a couple matches. The good thing is too, if you haven't done the match in the last 12 months, you can do it. So it's not like if you've done it before, doesn't mean you're out the door. But I never cared all that much about it before. But now with all the new policies, I have to think, I mean, we've talked about it ad nauseum, but I'm sure when I get on my first Southwest flight after this, there's going to be some culture shock still.
Yeah, yeah, it will be. Well, I mean, be more like everyone else. That's what it'll feel like. But I think that's why it makes this more interesting. Before, you maybe didn't have to check in on time, which always annoyed me. So that was the perk of A-list, and it's like, okay, big deal. But now bags, if you're paying for bags or seats or all that stuff, this could be potentially useful to you. And like you said, you get it for the 120 days. And the cool thing is that you only have to be 12 months since the last time you did the match. It's not like a 5-year thing like you see with some others. So you could do this whenever you have your Southwest flights, if they bring it back every year, like every year or so, you can lock this in if you have status with someone else and then take advantage of those perks. Like before I fly my next Southwest flight, if it's still available, I'll probably do it and just use those perks for that 120 days. I'm not going to go fly a whole bunch of Southwest flights to keep it long term. I think the requirements are a bit higher than it's worth, but it's a great deal to get it up front.
The biggest sort of programs: American Gold, Delta Silver, United Silver, Alaska Silver, JetBlue, Mosaic One. That's going to get you A-list. And then the higher statuses in those programs will get you the A-list preferred. That's going to be things like baggage, seats, priority boarding, free changes, priority call lines. So you're going to get the best overall Southwest experience under this new hedge fund driven airline if you have the status. And like I said, maybe this is just a transition. Maybe you just do it. You're not worried about getting it past the 120 days, just so you have that first flight where you can figure this out and not be upset like everybody else.
Yeah, don't have to throw a tantrum.
I mean, have you seen some of the Southwest video? Haven't there been a few in the
No,
last like week
I
or two?
haven't. I haven't. I've
Oh
been
my
paying
God.
attention.
So yeah, I don't know if they're all new or not, but I've seen, maybe it just got into my Twitter algorithm. I know there was a huge incident with a misunderstanding on a Southwest plane this week where somebody heard something about a guy who had to go to the bathroom and interpreted it to be something else. And they basically took this guy off the plane, but they determined that he wasn't actually threatening stuff. I saw a huge fight on a Southwest plane that I believe happened in the last week or two. And then I saw another video that was being shared that was recent. They said it was recent, but it was actually from late last year. But when did Southwest become like the Frontier and Spirit? Like we used to see these from Frontier and
Yeah.
Spirit, but not from Southwest.
I mean, I haven't seen a good Spirit Airlines check-in counter brawl in a minute now.
My favorite is that one where the guy's checking in and then the agents are filming him with this attitude and he's just trying to get to his thing and they just won't check him in and they're just being so wrong. They were fired for that. It's just a reminder, and I get so much crap for this, is that airline employees aren't always right. It's true. I mean, you'll be on a plane where they're not always right, in your opinion. But also, you have to respect the chain of command and just don't go
Wait till you get
flight
off.
attendant.
And then write a letter. Do not get kicked off your flight.
It's not time to stand up to the powers that be when you're on that plane. It's not time to make your stand right in that moment. It's not your time to harass other people. But I think this is just becoming part of our culture, unfortunately, where people see enough of these videos and then one day they're just in it. And I've seen some freakouts on planes, none of them to any level where it would be too crazy, but I've had to be deboarded a couple times from planes to have people removed where they threatened to do that sort of stuff. And thankfully they did come off with the police. They didn't have to get dragged out or anything. But I think that this is just going to keep getting worse. And I think Southwest is the new home for it. They brought this on with all the changes. This is what they deserve.
I never
Just kidding,
understood why
but
you have to deep board a plane because it just drag the get them off. Like we don't need to all get off.
I mean, the
Um,
doctor on United, that's why. Do you remember what
yeah,
happened to him? That's
yeah, that's
exactly
true.
why.
We need what was her name, Tiffany or whatever. This guy is not real. We need another video like that.
Yeah, we need more actors. You know, that's the question is, was she trying to do it for clout? We never figured this out, whether she was
Yeah.
truly out of her mind or because she tried to actually parlay it into fame. Most of these videos, I'm sure people are mortified. I don't know, because there's really no sort of fame there. You just see people acting terrible. The one I saw yesterday was, again, it was from a few months ago. I went back and dated it, but it was just this lady being horrible to the lady sitting next to her. Escalates, starts grabbing, calls her all kinds of names, her boyfriend all kinds of names, attacks everybody, ends up spitting on her. Yeah, I
That's
mean,
assault
I
right
know
there.
that this, yeah, well, exactly. It just keeps getting worse, and it's like there's no shortage of these, and then you add in the fake skits. So first you got to figure out if it's a
Oh,
skit
I
or
hate the
not.
Fates kids. Yeah.
But they don't get good actors, so it's pretty easy to figure out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so annoying.
Yeah, but I don't know. The world has changed a lot. So let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. I'll look at the hotel industry. Are you surprised to see that it's not doing as bad as some of the naysayers want to say? How Vegas impacts the wider industry? Southwest, their status match. Have you been hopping on those perks? Hyatt Centric Long Beach. Where's your go-to in SoCal? How about local places? Do you get to do the special? Like, it kills me that Mark gets to go on these great vacations to Los Angeles and feel all this specialness. And for me, it's just a road trip. I don't know. Leave a comment. We do 2 shows a week. Tuesdays, we do our travel show. Thursdays, we'll have miles and points. We also do Vegas Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays on our other channel. Tons of posts on the website with Mark and the team all throughout the week as well at milestomemories.com. So we got you covered no matter where. Check it out. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Thanks everybody that signs up for Thrifty with our link. We appreciate the support. Have a good week, everybody.